So I guess it's time for the update video. First, let's talk about some milestones that have come and gone. Uh, Earlier this month, I passed my 2-year anniversary. I've been on YouTube for 2 years, and that has resulted in over 2,000 subs, nearly 3,000. According to Social Blade, I will reach 3,000 subs by the end of the year. And perhaps more importantly, I have over 1 million views on my videos. So that's all great, I guess. In comparison to a year ago, I had around 1,000 subs, so I have nearly tripled that number in the past year. Unfortunately, all of these statistics don't really mean much. My channel is not, in fact, growing, despite those numbers. Because the most important statistics that I can look at on my analytics are the views per day. And right now, I'm getting about 2,000. I think at the peak of the summer, I was getting almost 3,000 views a day. And in comparison to a year ago, I was also getting about 2,000 to 3,000 over that summer. So in reality, even though I've received more subs over time, the same amount of people are watching my videos. And granted, I didn't put out a whole lot of new content this past year. I spent a lot of time on just a couple Let's Plays, like Emperor, for example, and frankly, I think people will get tired of that if they're not into that series in particular. Although I did try over this past summer, these past couple months, to sort of change it up and push through a couple new Let's Plays and get that going. But overall, it kind of just looks like I've been spinning my wheels as far as channel growth and trying to be a better Let's Player. But before I start talking about the future and how I feel about Let's Playing, let's go ahead and answer some of the questions that were asked. Rather than just read these verbatim, I'm just going to sort of paraphrase them because some of them are kind of long and rambling. Let's start with, how's life treating you? Not so great, actually. It's not treating me at all. And that kind of ties in with this other question, do you need a hug? Everyone needs a hug. No, I don't need a hug. I need a bag of money. That would solve a lot of problems for me right now and would make life a lot better. There are a couple more that are tied together. What are your computer specs? Bear in mind that I am stuck using my computer that I built while I was in college many years ago. But just for reference, I have a 2.13 gigahertz Core 2 CPU, 3 gigabytes of RAM, running Windows XP, and the graphics card is an NVIDIA GeForce 7950 GT. All of that is pretty poor nowadays, but at the time it was able to run just about anything I wanted it to run. But this ties into the other question, asking me if I have had a chance to upgrade my computer. And clearly I have not. Do I have plans to do so? Well, when I get a couple extra $1,000 to throw around, yes. I certainly do. The limitations of my current computer are affecting the Let's Plays that I want to do. There are a whole bunch of games I want to do, but I will need to wait until I have something that can actually run them, or at least run them smoothly while I am recording, because there are a few games that I can play now, but when the recording is on, they just are not watchable. Let's throw this in here quickly. Where am I from? Montana, which is in the northwest United States for those of you who don't know American geography. And yes, it is true that we all ride horses, we don't have electricity, and we have never seen an airplane. Okay, moving on to the games questions. Pretty much all related to the Impressions city building games, questions about playing Pharaoh, playing Caesar 3, and when will I play Poseidon. Well, I don't think I will ever play Caesar 3, or Pharaoh, just because of the length of time that these games take, and Poseidon is on my list of things to do, but having just finished Emperor, I am not going to jump into Poseidon anytime soon. Maybe someday I will tack on Pharaoh, Caesar 3, or the Caesar series. I don't really care for those games, though, frankly. I just didn't really like the way they worked. And, with Medieval Mayor coming out, if it's anything like them and something I want to do a Let's Play on, that's going to come first as well. So it is unlikely I will ever play Pharaoh or Caesar. Another question about Anno 1503 or Tropico 1. Probably not. I might do 1602 because I actually have that game. I wanted to do the Anno 2070 game when it came out because it looked pretty cool, but I think the interest in that has waned. Let's see. Will I play Prison Architect? Doubtful. I've watched some footage of it. Frankly, no one seems to know how to play the game. But if I was going to go into something like that, I think I would do Dwarf Fortress, which is on the list. But I haven't played a version of that for several years, so I would basically have to relearn the game if I did. Let's see, are there any good games in alpha or beta that I am following? Not really, no. Most of the games I was looking forward to already came out. The new Shadowrun game was one of them, and I did a Let's Play on it. But I don't really follow the gaming release news as much as I did before. And it looks like the final question, when will the next series of Sunlit Tides be announced? Never. Sunlit Tides is over. That storyline has ended. I did mention at the end, in the very last episode, that someday Gaz might show up in another adventure, and I think that got a lot of people speculating that there would be a sequel to the series. But what I meant by that was that he might end up cameoing inside of another storyline. There will not be another one, at least not that I'm planning, that will directly follow him, because I mean, at the end of the series, he became a supervillain, and because of the limitations of The Sims, there's not much I can do about that beyond that achievement. I toyed around with the Paradise Island expansion that came out, thinking that maybe I could do something from the other side, where there's a resistance to Gaz on this other island, and something that way, but unfortunately it seems to have screwed up my game completely, and I can't play it for more than 2 minutes before it crashes, so... That is not to say, however, that there will never be another Sims Let's Play on my channel. Sims 4 is of course coming out, but first of all, that's not going to run on my computer, and secondly, I would have to get all of the content for that game as well. I mean, that's just sort of the curse of the Sims games. However, because Sims 4 is coming out, that means they will stop developing expansions and content for Sims 3, especially since they announced it's not going to be compatible with Sims 4. So once that's all done, I think there's a couple more expansions. They're planning something about time travel, which might be interesting for future plots. But once that's all done and the content is there, they'll likely do like they did with The Sims 2, bundle it all together and sell it cheap. And so I could get all of the content, and that would allow me to do this really big series that I wanted to do. And, I mean, that would just... what I've got planned for it would take so much time and effort. I don't know if I'll ever get around to it, but it would definitely be the biggest project I have done, and I think probably the biggest, if not the best, Sims 3 Let's Play on YouTube. It would be in a similar narrative style to the Sunlit Tides, but it would just be huge. mostly because I wouldn't focus it on one sim household. And I would be able to spread it out over all sorts of things and using all the various things with the expansions. But see, the thing is, it took me... Well, let's talk about Sunlit Tides for a little bit. Towards the end there, it was getting really difficult to put out episodes. And that was mostly because I was running out of stuff to do. That series was not a written series. I didn't plot it out from the beginning. I had an idea of where I wanted the story to go, but I basically played the game, recorded the footage, went back and watched it, and then wrote the script based on what I thought would edit well together. Towards the end, however, Gaz was rapidly rising in the criminal career, and that was leaving me with very few options as to how to extend the story. As it was, I was having him go on vacation multiple times just so I would have those extra days to record something, to think of something I could do with the footage. And so I did end up directing the story a little bit, sending the other Sims off into the other world adventures areas, trying to just pad out the story. But I think with this big project I have in mind, I wouldn't have to do that, because they would just be so much over so long a time that I think it would work out. It's just that it would take forever to do the series, and that's really, I know I'm being very evasive about what it is, but that's because I don't want anyone more ambitious to come along and take the idea from me. But again, things are just so different for me now that I don't even know if I have time for that sort of thing, let alone all of the other games I thought maybe I might want to do someday in the future. You know, some of those, like I said, were limitations of my computer. I would like to do a Civ 5 Let's Play. I would like to do a SimCity Let's Play. I'd like to do XCOM, Warlock, some of those games that were big and now no one's interested in them probably. I've got a bunch of game ideas, and a lot of them are just ideas. I thought they might be fun to play, but some of the games I've got planned, I've also got to sit down and learn before I can even do the Let's Play of them. It's not that I've run out of games that I have and want to play, it's just the games keep coming, and I think, well, that one, and oh, and that one too, and, you know, pretty soon I just have this huge backlog of games I will never get around to. So, unless I end up in a situation where I have a ton of free time to just record the hell out of them, I don't think that'll ever happen. And that's sort of been the case with these past couple Let's Plays where, like with Guacamelee, Shadowrun, I had basically pre-recorded the entire series before the first episode went up, and that is why some of those playlists, people are watching them and then they get to the end of the playlist and they see the private video. A lot of those videos are up. In fact, all of Guacamelee is up on my channel, but if I released all of it now, I wouldn't have anything. So as it is, by releasing one video a day, I can at least extend that series out for another week or so. But to be honest, I feel like I kind of need to start backing off of the Let's Playing. Not necessarily giving it up for good, but I think I need to start diverting my attention and time into something a little bit more constructive. Something like actually trying to make games instead of play them, or, you know, something that is more conducive to being a self-sufficient adult. But now that I mention that, I wanted to bring your attention to my second channel, which you may or may not know about, which is my Gazworks channel. I have started doing game-making tutorials on that channel, and I think I want to put a little bit more time in that direction. if you're interested in something like that, you can go look at the channel, but I've also got a playlist on the Gaz Plays channel. Right now, I don't have much because I just sort of started, and it deals with Game Maker Studio, but I did intend to expand into Flash games, HTML5 games. The whole tech tutorial aspect, I feel, has less competition than the Let's Playing side of YouTube, and especially the good tutorials. I would, of course, prefer to be working on actual games and become some hit indie star, but I think if I'm honest with myself, that is kind of out of my reach. However, I have learned so much over the past couple years teaching myself all of this material that I think I could very easily turn around and teach what I know, or pass it on, in a context that is helpful to people, because a lot of books and tutorials aren't really helpful. They sort of assume that you know programming and all this stuff. And I think since I came at it as a complete novice and from a complete entry level, that I could more easily relate that to other people who have absolutely no idea what's going on. And on my Let's Play channel, my tutorial videos have actually been my most popular videos that people watch. To this day, my number one for like the past almost year has been the OpenTTD videos, or at least the first ones that deal with tutorials. I guess people can't stand to listen to my boring drawl for 20 plus episodes, but I at least get the impression that I'm good at explaining something, so that's useful. But I think I'm at a point where I need to figure out what I'm going to do with myself and probably push Let's Playing to the weekends. Certainly not as frequently as they have been, with 2 episodes a day for the past month or so. I think if I go to a recording schedule of doing stuff over the weekend, getting several episodes ready that I can push out throughout the rest of the week, maybe go back to one every other day or something. But that's how things are going on my end. I don't know what I'm going to do after Guacamelee is done, although I've got a couple ideas. I can throw in a couple short videos here and there. I will try to do something with GazWorks because I would love for that to take off. There are a number of small gaming engines and things that people have never even heard of that are great for making games, and there's no information on it, no tutorials, and I could definitely fill that gap. I mean, there are a lot of things I could do. The question really is, will I do them? And that I don't know. But I guess on that note, it is time to end the video. So thanks for watching, thanks for sticking with me. Pretty soon I should hit that 3,000 sub mark. Probably won't make a video about it, but there you go. So, that's it for now. Until next time.